welcome in here on a nice weekend evening here at Tony Talks Trash About Music. I'm trying to keep my head together. You know, I've told some people before about this little problem I'm having with my recording system right now. It's down and it's got me all bummed out, but we'll get everything straightened out. But anyway, tonight I'm going to talk about a record that's pretty divisive, I guess, as far as, you know, some people that are big rock fans and people that are maybe jazz fans and different things aren't really crazy about this. There's some obviously intentions on it being synthetic. This is a synthetic album from the 80s that I'm talking about. And ironically, this record defies that logic that I've said many times and that many people have told you, that the production in the 80s ruined a lot of good record songs, people that had decent songs, but the execution of the songs ruined them. But I can't think of any record. There's a bunch of records in that era. Yes, 90210 or to 5 or whatever the number is. Peter Gabriel's So. These are records that people listen to see how good your system was. And one that doesn't get talked about enough and is divisive because of the nature of the record, the way the guy's voice comes on, and it's so crazy with these guys' history, is this little gem. Cupid and Psyche, 1985. I was working squarely in the DC record store era when this record came out. And I can fairly say that in the quarters that I ran in, this record was an earthquake. This was a massive, dazzling use of the Fairlight by largely David Gamson. And David Gamson still, as you know, has worked as a producer. A lot of you people know he has his own podcast here. But I can't explain enough to you when this record came out, the high quality of production and the full digital experience of this thing. These are one of the first records that you heard, but what makes this record so good, and I think it stands out in their whole oeuvre, is the sounds and the quality of the songs. You had a great drummer there, Fred Mayer, playing on this, who played on Lou's comeback, the New York record, and one of his comebacks, one of the very strong periods. Very good drummer, very good, solid, straight drummer. But amazing how he adapted to the technology of the Fairlight and the program keyboards. The vocals on this are sugary sweet, are all about puppy love and different things. So they're kind of off-putting, but there's something about this record that, despite any resistance, now maybe some hardcore metalheads don't like it, or maybe some people don't like this guy's voice because it's a very high voice. But the funny thing of it is he doesn't always sing like this, but he sings like this on this. And these songs were so strong that even somebody like Miles Davis covered these songs. Perfect way. Miles Davis must have played for a long time in his career. Remember, he played that, the Cyndi Lauper, time after time. One Cyndi Lauper was the guys from the Hooters that wrote that, and somebody else. But he played that one. And, he liked playing Human Nature too. I mean, that was one. Da 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 da. But anyway, this record, guys, don't be put off by the sound. You can probably find this pretty reasonable anywhere. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to come back here with a Scritti Politti best of or anything like that, or anything where I'm ranking Scritti Politti records, because I'll tell you the truth, I own a couple others, but there's none that I feel about like this album. This album's such a standalone. I know that Provision tried to be the follow-up in 1988 with Patty and these songs, tried to follow this up. But believe me, there's nothing like the whole consistency, absolute, perfect way. Even the reggae, version Flesh and Blood to, the word girl. Small Talk just kicks it up, man. I mean, yes, it's synthetic, but there's so many great samples of guitars and such. It just kicks in the sonic depth of this. You really hear binaural pan. You really hear deep, overlapping, long sonic spread with this. Absolute fantastic. I mean, just another good single, but again, with that voice, absolute power. I mean, some people can deal, some people can't. When you look at the beginning of this band started off as like a Marxist punk rock band, and you know, what's that early thing that they had, that track that they had early, but what's it called? The punk rock stuff. They played with the, you know, they played. They were from Leeds, so anyway, they relocated to London and ended up moving. So they fall into this thing, Skank Block Bologna. That was it. That was the big one off the first. And you look at some of their early things, and you know, I guess their really first mention of what was happening here was their first record, the Sweetest Girl, and that predated this, and I guess that kind of sent this. But ironically, you know, what happened with this, to tell you that his movement towards this happened when they were touring with Gang of Four. He ended up having what they thought was a heart attack. Instead, it was a panic attack. And after that, he collapses, goes home, and after that, you know, he wants to perform funk and disco music. He goes completely from punk rock independent music to this. And forget about all the political stuff. It was all gone. It's such a strange transformation. It's one of the oddest transitions that I know of in music. Not that I'm the biggest Scritti Politti older person. I heard some like that, the Beer and Bread record later. It was decent, but it was not, to me. There's nothing with the penetration of this. A little knowledge, that slow. There come a day. Just the chord changes in this are revolutionary, and the great thing about it is all of the electronic music is supportive of it. It's not destructive of it, and it's used in a way. And this Gamson guy needs a damn medal. I mean, I think it's one of the monumental records of the 80s. It clearly would be in my top 10 for sure. Wonderful. And then you got Perfect Way. Like I said, Miles Davis covered that. Lover to Fall. That they got pretty much a straight drummer. Then I'm gonna hear about you. Oh, I love it, man. I like this record. I think it's great. It's a shame they didn't tour, but this makes sense, you know, after he has this panic attack. Then the Aretha Franklin song that was, some people found offensive. Pray Like Aretha Franklin. Probably meant Mahalia Jackson, probably, but you know, Aretha went secular pretty early. And then there's just the brilliant Hypnotized, and I have a Hypnotized 12-inch single back there. But all I'm trying to say is, guys, the sound, the use of the Fairlight, the space of the Fairlight, the production here, off the charts. And there are the three gentlemen here. There's Mr. Mayer there with his plaid blue jean look, which is, you could look normal on a Lou Reed stage too. That's pretty consistent. And then you got the Star Grant there in the middle, the star singer and writer. And these songs are great, man. They are. And they never came close to it. And then you have the great, pretty much unsung hero, and it always, I guess, is that if you're an instrumentalist. I'm talking about Mr. Gamson there and the black-haired gentleman looking into the mirror from sideways. And it seemed like they were through this. I don't know. I didn't ever look in to see what kind of success that they had, but they certainly had some kind of success here in the States with it. Like I say, DC, this was a huge record. And I remember for years, these being one of the demonstration CDs that they played to sell audio equipment. I mean, it was just considered the bee's knees. And I think it still is. I don't think anything has changed. You think something electronic, you think something from the 80s, you think something kind of bubblegum and poppy would have lost its power. If you know this record, and this record has memories for you, just if you have a convertible, something, roll down the windows and put it on and just let it fly, because it will set the pace, and is just like nothing else, and they never return to it. It's a magical moment, man. It's a one-of-a-kind moment for a one-of-a-kind record. As I say, one of the 80s absolute best records and one of the greatest recorded uses of a Fairlight-based record ever. Again, I'm praising the incredible All Songs 1985, released at the end of the 85, I think it was, Cupid and Psyche, 85. Scritti Politti, I dropped the darn thing here. You saw this before, but anyway, there's the inside of it. Credits. And there are the lyrics. Anybody else think that about Scritti Politti? Anybody else down in DC in about 85 when this thing hit? I mean, it was everywhere you went. It was incredible. I mean, it hit everything. The new romantic movement. I mean, it fit right in and just took it all and basically said, hey, check this out. I mean, it put you against the wall. People that were musicians and really liked sound and heard it. To me, it may still be one of the best examples of digital sound ever. And it was of that age. And anyway, the highest praise for this record. I think this record, certainly has a couple tracks that aren't as good as the other tracks, but the consistency of these tracks, the performance here, bravo. Comes with the highest recommendation. Some of you people don't like this kind of music, so leave your thoughts about Scritti Politti and their weird trajectory. I think they moved away from this sound a little bit towards the end, at least the tracks that I'd heard before. But anyway, talk about Scritti Politti, please. Anything you want to, because this record certainly rocked the DC club world, man. I played these songs every freaking night, for a couple of years, so. And even when the new one came out, it didn't match this. Big up to Mohawk Adam back in the days of posers down on M Street at the end of the Key Bridge. Talk to you guys later, man. Everybody leave your thoughts and your, please hit the like button for us, man. Subscribe if you would. I appreciate it, guys. We'll catch you next time. Tony talking trash about music. Thanks again. Say